Okay, this is game 3. Opponent has Double Swamp, Duress, Knight's Whisper. I have an Arbor Elf, Wall of Blossoms, and Sylvan Carotid, nothing much else. Starting with a fetch land into Arbor Elf. I think I will be getting, Bayou, maybe to set up for Black Spell into Black Spell or something like that. Let's see. Okay, it's Savannah. Um, yeah, setting up for my white spells. I do not have to fear Wasteland, especially because I have more than enough mana sources, which means Wasteland would slow my opponent down more than me. Here's the Duress, fizzling, which is a good thing. Kind of wasted on my opponent's turn. Information is not too valuable in the matchup because my means of interaction are rather limited. There's an attack with the Arbor Elf, and I'm playing my top deck Rofellos. Opponent is going to Knight's Whisper, which will supply him with more gas, so I have to find something within a rather short time frame, I think. I'm starting to flood out a little. There's the wall with the cantrip attached into. Let's see. Okay, seems to be only the other wall, Sylvan Carotid, and an attack with the Rofellos. I need to make something happen. I have 3 damage on board, which is not the worst, but not the best. And because my opponent played Knight's Whisper, I think he will have the tools to finish the game within the next 3 or 4 turns. Or at least have a Haymaker that can decimate my board of rather weak creatures. There's Besiege the Queen, which will, I think, find Buried Alive again. Maybe a sweeper if he has it already, or if he thinks he has to play the longer game. We'll see. No, there's Buried Alive. Okay, if he Buried Alive's next turn, it's rather likely he will reanimate the turn after, so I really need some interaction here. There's another forest, which I think means I top decked something relevant in the meantime. 5 mana. Okay. There's Garruk, Primal Hunter, a big beefy planeswalker. I will put his loyalty up to 4 and make a beast here to set up a draw effect next turn. You can -3 him to draw cards equal to the highest power of creatures you control. So next turn I will be able to draw 3, which hopefully will find some way to interact with what my opponent is doing. I think my opponent should just go for it here, because my board is becoming rather good, and rather hard to handle by conventional means. So he has to win via his combo, and he recognizes this and consequently just goes for the combo, sets it up in his graveyard, which sets me on a 1 turn clock. Always under the assumption he has the reanimation, but it's very likely, I think. Seems okay. My hand is nothing but mana, which is not a good thing for me. So I have to crack my Garruk, drawing 3 to find something. Okay, there's Thought-Knots here, which is actually very good, because I can pick the reanimation spell from my opponent. I'll play the Utopia Sprawl first, because it's free. Oh yeah, and the colorless mana I already had, which is of course important for casting the Eldrazi. Now let's see what my opponent got. It's a defense grid with which does nothing. A makeshift mannequin. There's a Liliana. Okay. So I'm dead right there because my opponent shows me the middle finger, rightfully so. He made a good play here, I think. He delayed the Wasteland, which he could have cast last turn, could have played last turn, but it would have been kind of susceptible to any non-basic land destruction on my side, which would have taken him off the 4th mana for Makeshift Mannequin. So I have only the option to take one reanimation spell from this hand, and he has the means to cast both of them, so next turn he just wins with the combo. Well played, sir. Game 2. Opponent has Swamp, Expedition Map, a proxy I cannot read the bones, so a balanced hand it seems. I have a quick start on the play with a turn 1 Noble, which is always what I want. Oh, Thoughtseize is a good one here. My hand has very juicy spells, but not that much mana. He takes the Lotus Cobra. I don't know if I really like that pick. I think Expedition Map may have been the safer route, because I didn't have the land in first place, which makes the Cobra kinda dead. He plays a second land and an Expedition Map, and I'm looking okay here. The Deathrite Shaman is inactive, which is kind of a bad thing. I think I do not have a land, otherwise it wouldn't take me so long to play it. Oh, okay, never mind. There's a land and there's a knight and an attack with a Deathrite. I think this play maximizes my mana in the most efficient way. Next turn I can get really explosive with the knight and do not have to waste my Expedition Map to get a fetch land. Of course, if he has a removal spell for the knight, things might look grim for me soon. We'll see. There's a Cruel Tutor, which is a very bad kind of a demonic tutor. It costs a mana more, and you put the card just on top of your library, and you also lose 3 life, I think. Maybe 2 life, I don't know exactly. Okay, he puts a Toxic Deluge up there. This can get me pretty hard. But I think I'm already sensing that there might be a sweeper coming. So I have to think twice before deploying my Courser of Krufix. I can get Chaos Cradle with the knight here, which will generate 3 mana plus 2 from my elves is 5 plus the 1 forest, 6 mana. Let's see what I do here. It's kind of funny because it was me who made that place, but I actually cannot remember which play I made. Well, seems to be I'm in the tank, mostly pondering about which card my opponent tutored there. It might just be he has tutored Buried Alive, in which case my best line would be to maximize aggression and put everything to the board I can. But if he has tutored for a sweeper, that's just the worst line I can take. Okay, I think I make a mistake here by playing the Elvish Mystic first. I'm tutoring up Chaos Cradle. And the elf is basically for free, because the 1 mana I spent for him is then generated again by the Cradle. So it's free for me to play him here. But If he has gone for the sweeper effect, as we know he has, I lose an additional creature, which basically has no direct value for me. It's just not very relevant if Elvish Mystic is on the board or not. I should have hedged a little. I should have not played the Mystic. Made the same play I made here, which is tutoring for, I think, Acidic Slime. And in case he has the Toxic, which we know he has, I have an Elvish Mystic in hand and the cost of Krufix for next turn. So I would play the Mystic and then immediately have Gaea's Cradle active. But as it stands, I have not thought this way. This is surely a misstep from my side. And I'm getting pretty wrecked by the Toxic Deluge. Because I can remember now, my opponent will be able to play it because he has another Swamp. I choose to destroy a Swamp with the Acidic Slime because I want to set him back on mana. Just in general slow him down and not destroy the expedition map, which I don't know, I feel is not very impactful in this matchup, mostly finding Lake of the Dead for acceleration. And I think that's what's happening right now. He does not have the additional Swamp. He has to go for the Lake of the Dead route and then sweep my board. But he will be left with only the lake. So we kinda will be in a stalemate soon. This was really bad. I should have kept the elf back. You can see my board looks like really bad after a sweeper. Just having the expedition map, only 1 mana available. I can play the map, but cannot even activate the map unless I find another land. If I had the elf, I would have just played the elf. Next turn had 3 mana up and could have played the Corsair, which would have found me more lands and gas. And from there on, I surely would have won this match. I don't even know if I win it in the end. I forgot, but I could have played this way better, just by not deploying the elf. Okay, so my opponent is deciding between, I think, a small play for 2 mana or going all in again with the sacrifice of the Lake of the Dead, of the Swamp to the Lake. He has the Coalition Relic, which is pretty good for him, stabilizing his mana in teamwork together with the Read the Bones. He is pretty much good to go from here, I think. Should be at least. I have a Treetop Village, which is not too bad, but unfortunately comes into play tapped, so I have to pass this turn without any further action again. Opponent doesn't have a floating mana this turn from the relic. Let's see if he chooses to use it again or to spare for his next turn. He has to think what my next turn will be. Not amazing again, from judging from the pieces I have there. Can just untap my village, crack my map for another land and pass. So he has still some time left. A good deal of time. Okay, so again, sacrificing a swamp. What is this? What is this card? Did you just draw 3 or something? I think it's like target player draws X cards and loses X life. Okay, so he's gassing up again, but at the same time he is not developing his mana, which is kind of a boon for me because he gives me some time to build up too. Here's a crack of a fetch, crack of the expedition map. I waste the Lake of the Dead and have to pass. I don't want to repeat myself, but my position would look mighty better with an Elvish Mystic here. Okay, he has a land drop, which is kind of expected after drawing so many cards, but is still slowed down. This turn he can spare a mana with Coalition Relic, and I have to be aware of a potential 4-drop next turn. So, my mana is still looking bad. My hand is Swords to Plowshares, Crop Rotation, and 3 Wizards. Okay, here's a Crop Rotation. No. No, I take that back. There you can see this is just casual. We have some takebacks here and there. I don't know what I was thinking. This was clearly not going to work out. Again, I cannot remember what my thinking here is, but I have to somehow enable my cradle. This is really setting me back here. No, I think I should just play 3 Wizards and pass. It's not pretty again, but I really have no other choice. Okay, seems I finally got there. Thinking about which land I should get. I think Savannah is the best option because most of my off-color spells are white and I already have the Swords to Plowshares, so no need to get fancy with anything else than that, I guess. Yes, there's Savannah. And another pass. Okay. Opponent is loading his mana battery, and with the land drop would now have 4. There's an Unmask with its alternate way of casting it by removing a black card from your hand, which means there's surely a follow-up to come. Yeah, I'm thinking if I should use Crop Rotation right now, but actually I think there's no point because there's just no very good land I could get there. And then he would just take my Corsair away, and I'd rather have a Corsair in play and start accumulating some kind of card advantage. Swords to Plowshares is basically dead against this combo deck. As I already stated, you cannot disrupt this combo. If he has Necrotic Ooze in play with the combined abilities of Reaction Divara and Walking Ballista, he can just stack counters on the Ooze and ping anytime he has priority. So if I choose to sword the Necrotic Ooze, he can just say, okay, swords on the stack, and in response I just load up a million counters again and ping anywhere I want. Yeah, he reanimated with an animate dead my Acidic Slime, killed a land, and killed the land, and I killed it again, or send it farming with the swords as just to like even the board again. The fact that he uses his animate here makes me pretty sure that he has more reanimation in his hand, because those reanimation effects are actually very valuable for the deck because they need it for comboing. Oh my god, there's Dark Ritual. With the floating mana from the mana battery, there's Dark Petition. Spell Mastery is surely active, but I'm checking again because why not? And yeah, if he wants to, he can get, Buried Alive and cast it right away. Seems to be the best line, I think. Oh no, he gets a Swamp. Okay. So that must mean, I don't know what this means. He has a Distress. Okay, he's like totally crippling me. Maybe he has some combo parts in hand and cannot go for the Buried Alive because he is holding Divora or something like that. Could be the case. Here I have a Wall of Omens, which doubles the mana from Overgrown Battlement. Okay, this was actually a good draw. Wall into Nissa, into token. But still, the clock is slow. And my hand is empty, so I'm not feeling very good about this game. I think my opponent forgot that Dark Petition generated him 3 mana there, because he tapped the Swamp for the Duress. Maybe he could have had a more explosive play. That's Demir Machinations, I think is the name of the card. It's a sorcery for 1 black and 2 colorless, and it lets you transmute, which is the main reason you play this card. I think the other modes are something like exiling cards in graveyards. No, that's the other one. I don't know. I don't even know what it does. You just always transmute, basically. And he gets the Buried Alive. Alright. There's a Nissa tick-up for another token. There's no point in pumping my walls and my plant just to get 1 damage across. Actually, my opponent is going rather low on life in this match. He resolved a Toxic Deluge, a Cruel Tutor, then the draw spell with the loss of X life, and I don't actually count it. I haven't counted his life total now, but I think it must be in the single digits already. So in an intermediate future, it might be a possibility to be like pumping my tokens to 1/2s, then to 2/3s, or maybe create another one, then 3 1/2s, and start applying real pressure against this low life total, but that time is not now. Okay, so here's Buried Alive, which he just had in hand, it seems, all the time. No combo piece, so I'm not really sure if he could have comboed earlier. If he had remembered that Dark Petition created 3 mana for him, I think there was a way to go off right there. But he might have drawn the Buried Alive just now. I don't know for sure. Okay, here I'm going to make counters because I'm sensing that my time is going to run out pretty soon and I have to make something. I have to do something at least. Okay, there's Reanimate. And again, now I remember, I think he's at exactly 5 life at this point. And Reanimate will cost him 4 life to reanimate Necrotic Ooze, so it's a very close thing in the end. But he manages to win it. On to the next.